but one world, one life, one death. There is...
Wait. Where are you going?
Puppy!
Where are your mother and father?
Puppy!
But... No, you can't keep him.
What? No mention of dessert? Surely this is...
Really, Barkspawn?
As there is but one world, one life, one...
They say you can get anything here. I once got pickpocketed.
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts.
I recognize you. From Ostagar. Andraste's blood. You're a Grey Warden. Duncan's apprentice. You killed my friend. And good King Cailan. I demand satisfaction, sir.
You realize Loghain's charges are false, right?
So you would compound slander on top of treason. You dare smear Terran Loghain's word.
Why would the Wardens ever help the Darkspawn?
I do not like your tone, sir. But you may be right. I may regret this, but I cannot duel someone who may be guiltless. Leave, Warden. If I find proof, we will meet again.
Okay. Idiot. Well. Do this. I knew it, Jesse Ward. I always knew. You can also kill him. And there's ways. There's ways.
Welcome, friends. Welcome
Brother!
to Wade's Emporium. We have the finest armors in Denerim, maybe in all of Ferelden. How may we assist you?
Tell me about Wade.
You're obviously not from around here. Wade is possibly the most brilliant armorsmith in all of Ferelden.
That's not true, Heren. The dwarves of Orzammar make the finest armors around. These piles of rust droppings you force me to make are worthless compared to their work. You never let me have the time, the materials to make something special.
Customers expect their armor in a timely fashion, not years late like the last time.
That happened once, just once, and you never let it drop.
Who's in charge here?
I am.
Wade owns the Emporium, but without expert assistance and, well, prodding, let's just say the Emporium has improved substantially with our partnership.
But I do miss the good old days. I could really take my time to make quality.
Oh, by all means, you can return to them. And to the gruel you used to fancy.
No. Sorry, Heren.
Certainly.
Right. Well, anyways. Hello, RRC. Yes, artists, they just, you don't understand. They need time. I don't need gifts. Get him after. Get him after. Get him after. I like Wade more than I probably should. And that's how I'm going to phrase that.
Heren, the bloody customers are bothering me again. What do I pay you for, anyhow?
Sorry. Wade is a genius. Truly, you will be astonished by his work. But he doesn't deal with customers. If you need anything, please ask me.
You know,
And tell her I don't want her looking over my shoulders making doe eyes at me either. I'm thinking, blast it all.
Truly sorry, sire.
I don't remember Jesse Ward. I just remember Dagna.
Welcome back. You looking for fine armor? Come again.
Not yet. We'll be back, though. A lot of references from Origins were reduced to being a war table in Inquisition. And even if it makes sense, it doesn't mean I like it. Right. I want to do that now? Yeah, let's do that now. Okay, hang on.
You here to report another crime? I swear we should just cordon off the entire district. Oh, can I help you, Warden?
Is it really that bad?
The lower market isn't deemed important by the captain of the guard, even less with Al Howe in charge. So when I finally get the new men I request, I get the delightful surprise of discovering their Lord Such-and-Such's illegitimate, untrained, moronic whelps. But lords keep sending me more of them. It's decent pay, no expectations, a uniform. So I have a legion of bastards to protect the market from pickpockets, stabbings, and whatnot, and Al Howe's specially picked men are the worst of the lot.
So, it's France, then.
What? You're serious? I mean, yes, I could use help. I've got a pretty popular, establishment that's crawling with mercenaries. If I send my boys in, someone might get, maker forbid, hurt, and I'll have to explain to their noble fathers that being a guard is actually dangerous.
What would you like me to do?
The name of the whorehouse is the Pearl. Beat down any mercenaries that are out of line and send them a message. I said beat down, not kill. Let me make that really clear. Not on fire, or exploded, or make a nose, whatever type of grisly death you can dream up. Sorry. Used to giving orders to my boys. Just leave them breathing and I'll be happy.
You got it.
Thank you, Warden. Happy hunting.
Let's go to the Pearl. I hear there's this wonderful woman there.
You heard about all those mages in Lake Callanhart? They up and turned into a pack of demons.
No. Did the Templars kill them all, at least?
Nope, I guess they got better.
More likely working with the Darkspawn to take us over.
I don't even want to think about it.
Ugh, filthy mages. I spit on them. Ugh.
As you wish.
Right.
You know what the Regent reminds me of, the way he...
Hi, Baron. And thank you very, very much for the sub. Always appreciate. I don't suppose you know where you want that to go. As a reminder, it can be up to 3 things.
I wonder if they have a good plum wine.
Oh man, I've actually had plum wine. It's pretty good.
What can I get you, stranger?
Nothing apparently. Sorry. Hey look, it's Edwina.
Pigs, all of them.
Which, I'm just gonna let that reference sit there. Enjoy that as much as you want. Kirby block in Pokemon Arceus. You got it.
Do you think the tower is ever going to get back to what it was, Wynne?
I don't know. A great number of people died. It will be difficult to imagine rebuilding, with that cloud hanging over everything for many years to come.
Do you think you'll be there? To help rebuild, I mean, once this is all over with.
I cannot say. Even if I survive this blight, I am a very old woman, Alistair.
Why? Because of some grey hair? You are a formidable woman, Wynne. You could see that it happens.
I think you overestimate the number of years I have left. But perhaps you are right. Or perhaps the memories of what happened there will be too strong for me to face.
I have a hard time believing that.
Well, it's good to have someone that believes in me so. Now, if I could only feel the same way myself, that would be something.
See, everyone wants to have sex with Wynne. It's the hips. So I have never run any campaign based on Dragon Age, no. Despite being, Dragon Age. I'm sure it's influenced my writing because that's how life works. But...
Hey, the wonders of Thedas. Al Eamon once bought me a miniature Gollum doll here. When I was young. Really young.
Right. Well, there is a Dragon Age TTRPG, which I don't like, personally. Just preference.
Welcome to the wonders of Thedas.
You're not a person! Alright, let's see here. Individual rules that don't work that well. Side things that sound like they'd be cool, but actually aren't in reality. The whole thing's a mess. I'm not a fan. I'd agree with that, RRC. They did share some extra insights, which are probably not canon, but it's some cool stuff.
Dwarven crafts.
Fine, dwarven crap. Let's see here. I really wish we could change party members here, but whatever. Can we even... Oh, we can. We'll just do this.
I lied to you, you know, about why I left Orlais.
It was the butterfly sword, wasn't it?
I didn't feel like talking about it then. What happened to me? Maybe it will affect us, maybe not, but you should know. I came to Ferelden and the Chantry because I was being hunted in Orlais.
Hunted for what? The Nug?
I was framed, betrayed by someone I thought I knew and could trust. Marjolaine. She was my mentor and friend. She taught me the bardic arts, how to enchant with words and song, to carry myself like a highborn lady, to blend in as a servant. The skills I learned, I used to serve her, my bard master, because I loved her, and because I enjoyed what I did.
Yeah, I played the DLC.
You can say it was my fault. There was a man I was sent to kill. I was to bring Marjolaine everything he carried. I don't know who this man was. She gave me a name and a description, and I hunted him down. I found documents on his body, sealed documents.
Okay.
My curiosity got the better of me. Something told me that I needed to know what was in those letters. Marjolaine had been selling all kinds of information about Orlais to other countries, Nevarra and Antiva among others. It was treason.
Isn't that what bards do?
Some. But I had always assumed Marjolaine only operated within Orlais. This was an unhappy surprise for me. My life as bard taught me that my loyalties should be kept fluid. My concern was not that she was a traitor, but that her life would be in danger if she was caught. Orlais has been at war with so many countries. It takes a harsh view of such things, as I later discovered.
What do you mean?
I should have left well alone, but I didn't. I had to tell Marjolaine I feared for her life. She brushed aside my concern. She admitted her guilt, but said it was in the past. That is why the documents had to be destroyed, she said. I believed her. I kept believing up till the moment they showed me the documents, altered by her hand, to make me look the traitor.
Who's they?
The Orlesian guards. They captured me. Did terrible things to make me confess and reveal my conspirators. It was a traitor's punishment I endured. And at the end of it, all that awaited me was eternity in an unmarked grave.
How'd you get out?
The skills Marjolaine taught me were good for something at least. I broke free when I saw the opportunity. I did not seek Marjolaine out. If she thought I was coming for her, she would have me caught again.
So you came to Ferelden.
I was tempted to confront her. I was furious, betrayed. But what could I do against her? And so I fled to Ferelden, to the Chantry and the Maker. Ferelden protected my person, and the Maker saved my soul. And that is the reason I am here. The real reason. No more lies between us, at least in this.
Well, I mean... Thank you for telling me.
It feels good to have this off my chest. Thank you for listening and understanding.
You're welcome. Nice sword.
Yes,
Nice sword.
I am hardly surprised.
So what were you quoting earlier?
The Kyun, the path to wisdom. I am not surprised you don't recognize it.
So what's the Kyun? And why is it the most evil thing in this entire setting?
Ask a Tamasran. They know how to explain things to children. It is not for me to teach the Kyun.
Right. Okay.
As you wish.
Cool. Well, now we have the Kyun. Alright, so I need you,
Yes.
you,
Indeed.
and you.
Yes.
In Dragon Age 2, we'll talk about the Kyun in much more detail. Similarly as in Inquisition. For now, they're the bad guys. And that's we're just going to leave that at that.
Dwarven craft. Welcome. In times like this, surely you're every...
Backpack. Meant to grab that earlier.
By order of the new Earl of Denerim, no one is to enter the alienage.
Why?
There's been an elven uprising. Nightfears even have the gall to attack the Jarl's only son. Killed him in cold blood. With the whole Urian family dead, the regent appointed Rendon Howe of Amaranthine the new Earl of Denerim. First thing he did was lead a purge of the alienage. It's a mess in there. When things are put back in order, the gates will be reopened. Now on your way.
Okay. Yeah, first we have to destroy Kirkwall.
So I spoke to this hunter the other day, and you know what he says?
The one who talked about all the werewolves?
The very same. Said he saw 'em plain as day. Wonder what he's been drinking.
Saw the hero, Dane, walking beside them too, I expect. With Andraste following behind.
Yeah, most likely.
Something on your mind? Of course.
What changes about you after the joining?
You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden?
Yes.
You know, I asked Duncan this too, and all I got was, "You'll see."
He wouldn't tell you?
Oh, it's not that Duncan wants to keep it a secret. It's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last. My face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears.
I haven't felt anything like that yet.
Really? Because I was watching you wolf down food the other day, and I thought, ooh, it's a good thing she gets a lot of exercise.
What can I say? I'm a growing girl.
I'll say. I didn't mean it like that. No, don't hit me. I bruise easily. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the Darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you call it, their group mind. And when we sleep, it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a blight. How is it for you?
Yeah, it's been fun.
Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive, I suppose. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come.
Oh yeah, and the nightmares, that's the call from the Elden Lord, so there you go, there's that tied up.
Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we? Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age. You've got 30 years to live, give or take. The Taint, it's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammar and die in battle rather than waiting. It's tradition.
Orzammar.
You'll always find Darkspawn down where the dwarves are. The oldest Grey Wardens head to the deep roads for one last glorious battle. Not that there's a shortage of Darkspawn during a blight, but that's the tradition. The dwarves respect us for it. And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. And there you have it.
You know,
Duncan, he started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammar himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him.
He'll be remembered for whatever that's worth.
I know. Ending the Blight should make this all worthwhile, right?
Yes. I have a very, very strong feeling that when they were originally setting up this setting, they didn't actually think of the consequences of female wardens and came up with the infertility thing to kind of explain away that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just, from the way it's constructed, it feels like a band-aid on the situation. Like, oh yeah, no, they're infertile. No issues. Can't happen.
Something on your mind? Of course.
What was it like being a Grey Warden with all the others?
I didn't know them for very long. But I guess it was longer than you. You never met them all, did you? They were quite a group. Actually, they felt like an extended family, since we were all cut off from our former lives. We also laughed more than you'd think. There was this one time... Well, you probably don't want to hear stories about men you didn't know.
No, please, tell me about them.
Not as Grey Wardens. Not while I was there. I saw pictures of some, though none of them were as pretty as you are. There was one Grey Warden who came all the way from the Anderfells. What was his name? Gregor. He was a burly man with the biggest, fuzziest beard you've ever seen. And the man could drink. He drank all the time, but he never got drunk. Finally, we all made a pool to see just how many pints it would take to put him under the table.
Sounds like you had fun.
Sometimes. We were kin of a sort. All of us had gone through the joining, so we knew... Well, anyhow, it doesn't have to be deadly serious all the time. Anyhow, we never did find out. He said he'd drink a pint for every half pint that the rest of us drank. He was still going by the time the rest of us were passed out. I'm told that Duncan walked in later on and saw us all passed out from one end of the hall to the other, and Gregor still drinking. Duncan laughed until he nearly...
A lot of people have died, Alistair, and a lot more will.
Yes, I suppose so. I thought I was done with this, but it just struck me that I have nothing to remember Duncan by. Nothing at all. There's no body, not even a token of his that I could... take with me. That must sound really stupid to you.
Not at all.
I just would have liked something of his to take with me, that's all. Well, there's no use in moaning about it, is there? He's gone. Let's just go.
So no is the answer to your question, Lothario. I have never thought about that. But knowing what we know of Duncan and how extraordinarily pragmatic and not putting up with any crap he is, I'm pretty sure he would have gone for the quickest, easiest, and probably most evil option in every case. I sincerely doubt he would try the diplomatic route like we try to. Well, that I try to.
I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions. Do you mind if I ask?
Nah, go ahead.
How about Oghren? You must have an opinion on the smell, at the very least.
He is an excellent warrior.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. For a drunk, he's an excellent warrior, right? How he lifts his sword is a bit of a mystery. Though I suppose the point is that he does lift it. And so long as we can point him in the right direction, he charges too. He has gusto, I'll give him that. Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow?
Actually, yeah.
Really? Why? That's a lot of trust to put in someone who tried to kill you.
I don't think he's going to try it again.
That's very trusting of you. I guess you must have your reasons. What about Sten? The way he looks at me with those eyes. Creepy. And he's so quiet for someone so big.
He is dedicated.
Yet he doesn't seem quite so bad as the Chantry tells us. According to them, his philosophy is vile and evil.
Yeah?
Yet he seems so reasonable. And yet, he killed all those people. He doesn't even deny it. Doesn't that bother you?
Yeah.
Yet he seems otherwise honorable and even wise. I don't get it. What about Liliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision?
I believe that she believes in her vision.
That's one way to put it. I noticed that you and her have become close. Am I right? The rest of us have talked about it.
Yes, I'm sorry, you've been talking about us?
You think we have better things to do than gossip about you? You give us far too much credit. Is it true or not?
Yes, we've been having tons and tons and tons of sex. With Wynne. It's been non-stop threesomes every night.
I thought so. Well, I hope you know what you're doing. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life.
It was her choice.
Yes, I know. Still, I feel badly for her. Morrigan. Do you trust her? Think about it. Maybe Flemeth sent her with us for some other reason than she said.
You really don't like her, do you?
Well, aside from the fact that she's a complete and utter bitch, no, I don't like her at all. Why, do you?
It was the last one, Evo, I swear. I do, in fact, like Morrigan, and not just because she's my one true love.
Great. I am thrilled beyond words. No, really. Enough. I think my curiosity is sated. Let's get back to it, shall we?
You'll.
Something on your mind?
Maybe.
Of course.
Nope, we're good. Alright, well, time to break Alistair's heart. And not harden him? Oh, we can't, because we don't have the quest yet. Oh, wow. Huh. Okay, we might actually have to go to Redcliffe first. We can go to the Pearl, at least. Giving him an onion. Here you go, Alistair.
Nothing. I don't think they clean the surfaces in this place very often.
Yeah, speaking of which. Hi, Crazy Nurse. Yeah, for like a week now, but hi.
That scamp Kylon sent you, right? Glad he hasn't forgotten about us. The mercenaries are right there. If you'll hear about other things, just speak up.
Someone needs to put you in your place.
Hey, look, it's Isabella. You could tell because she has a chest the size of 2 watermelons that's been duct taped to her.
She's too good.
Be off with you now, and be glad I only took from you your gold. Fools.
And she won't stop shoving her ass out. Okay, real talk for a second. When I first played Dragon Age 2, it never occurred to me that these were the same character. In fact, I think it was like my second or third time through where I was like, wait, that's Isabella? Like, that's... but...
Ah, a Grey Warden. And I had heard that all the Ferelden Wardens...
Different actress, too.
...from this place. Oh, don't look so surprised. I've seen many of your kind in my journeys, and there is always something... odd about you. But... Grey Warden or no, it is refreshing to see another woman who answers to no one.
I would say yes, Lord Harrowmont, but then again, I'm biased because I don't think Anora's actress does a decent job with Anora in general. I know there's the scene, which is terrible, but even ignoring that, Anora just doesn't manage to sound good. Like, speaking as a voice director, I would probably ask that actress to do a few more takes and try and walk her through it. So, pleased to meet you. I look forward to seeing you in the second game.
Now, what can I do for you, my dear?
Well, there's 2 people who can... 3? There's 2 main people who can give a speech before the final battle, Evo. One of them is Alistair, which is actually pretty cool. The other one's Anora. Anora's speech is so bad that, and this is true, I'm going to give it a negative by itself. Now, before you jump down my throat, I'm going to give a positive to Alistair's speech, but Anora's speech is just awful.
I assume you saw that little drama, and none of these poor brutes has ever proven a match for me. They are too clumsy and predictable. I fight with quickness and wit, rather than with brute force and strength. I call myself a duelist because I honed my skills in duels with warriors I encountered over the years.
Right. Could you teach me?
An unusual request, coming from a fearsome slayer of Darkspawn. I am flattered that you wish to learn from me, sweet thing. But I have watched you, and you seem to lack a particular grace that is required. You are accustomed to doing battle a certain way, yes? I can teach you some basics. Perhaps you can pass it on to someone who might be interested in what I have to offer. I do, however, wish to get to know my potential student better, so we shall call for a drink, and you will honor me with a game.
Okay.
Have you ever played Wicked Grace? It is easy to learn, but difficult to master. You must watch your opponent's moves as carefully as your own. Before we start, the cards must be shuffled. Shall I, or would you like to?
You do it.
Very well. There. That should be sufficient. 5 cards each to start with, and may the cleverest player win. It looks like the deck is being kind to me today.
Let's play dexterity. We have no dexterity.
Please, keep your hands to yourself.
Apparently we're going to fail at that.
The Angel of Death card. The game is over. We must show our hands. Oh dear. Is that what you have? Do you need me to go through the rules again? I have 4 knights. Roses, ages, sacrifice, and wisdom. It beats your hand. Still undefeated after all these years. Will I never meet my match?
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Fair enough. I will be here should you wish to play again.
Why did Liliana not call her on that? Isn't she supposed to? Ah, whatever. I don't even care that much. Moving on. Dave.
Turn around and walk, stranger. This affair is for White Falcons only.
By the order of the guard, you must vacate this premises.
Get a load of this, guard. You're telling us what to do?
Yeah. Nobles aren't interested in riffraff. They want solid and reliable soldiers.
You have a point there. Man, let's clear out. Don't want to get on Locane's bad side, do we?
Tell Kylon I owe him one.
You're welcome. Hang on, so let's save. Hang on.
What now?
Welcome.
See you around, Jesse Ward.
What can Isabella do for you today?
One more time.
Before we start, the cards must... The serpent entwined... Still undefeated. Before we start, the cards must... Very... There. 5 cards each to start with. Handmade. The serpent entwined dagger.
Cheating, I see.
You certainly have quick reflexes. I'm quite impressed. And as for me cheating, well, the game does not matter. I just wanted to see if you could outwit me. You have proven yourself quick and resourceful, and I would be honored to pass my skills on to you.
Thank you.
Come, we will need some space for this.
Wait, we're not gonna have sex. Oh, God! Yeah, she recognizes that I have the power of time states, Ensign. And no, okay, so let's get this out of the way. You can have sex, you can have like a bunch of random sex encounters here. The basic sex encounters are dumb. There's nothing to say for that. But the special ones are pretty funny. I'm gonna give you that, and I'm gonna give the humor positive for it. I'm not gonna show them. We're just giving the positive, and we're moving on. Yeah, yes, it was magical. Heaven and earth moved for everybody. Oh, you can also have a foursome, although that's a thing. Probably the best one is the one where I think it's a nug, just looks at you with shame. And it's just kind of, and then falls over. Oh, the dwarf, yeah. They're funny. Plus the story.
I was hoping I'd find you. I heard about the Pearl. I don't know how, but you got them to leave with no fuss at all. The Pearl's workers will...
Nobody gives orders to my men but me. A little lesson in respect is in order.
I see. Don't bother sparing these louts. Things are about to get messy.
Done! Although, since there's allies here, I won't kill you too. I'm tempted to. I'm playing the wrong character, so hang on. Let's see how this lines up for a second. Right here should do. There we go. Now let's single target our way to victory. And Crazy Norse is gone! Gone to the ether. Ne'er again shall there be a Crazy Norse. All Norsemen shall be very sane from this point onwards.
Make a preserver.
And people actually voluntarily attack you. Are they just stupid?
That's my theory.
I promised. I might have more work if you're interested. But I'm heading back to the market district. The back alleys are just too dangerous for me.
Yeah, sure. By the way, that's actually one of my favorite quotes in the entire game. And people willingly attack you? Oh, that wasn't even a hard fight. It can be, but by the time we get to this point in the game... No, we're good. Oh, okay. This is not the exit of this one. It's apparently over here. So, moving on. Ah, damn it, Crazy Norse. That close. Really? Oh no, it's a bunch of morons.
You had it coming.
Did you not just see? Okay. Yeah, exactly, Estus Flakes. Like, at a certain point in the game, encounters that are reasonably well designed and would be difficult aren't, because you're at a certain point in the game. That's true in a lot of games, actually. For example, even though the Ridley fight in Super Metroid is objectively the hardest boss fight in that game, most people tend to find earlier fights harder simply because you just have less of a kit. And less resources to use, too. In fact, there's a reason why most people think that Phantoon is actually the hardest boss in that game. Even though he's only the second. Yeah, the R2... yeah, the game knows how to use its stunning archers pretty well. There's going to be a few encounters with that. But, well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
This should be easy enough.
I do love that quote, Kiroi Noise. Alright. Let's, looks like we can't do much of this yet, which is strange. I think I'm missing a trigger somewhere. I mean, I am missing a trigger somewhere, but I think I know where it is.
Good to see you back.
So you needed more help?
I've got complaints in the Nord Noble Tavern that some mercenaries have invaded. Nothing violent has happened. The sellswords are probably just disturbing the nobles' rarefied conversation. Just drum the louts out of there. The barkeep doesn't mind some blood. Or sport, as she called it. Captain said Denerim won't miss a few dead mercenaries. Do what you will, and good luck.
I mean, you realize that the Denerim, and we talked about this during the lore run, doesn't have good corpse removal, right? I'd say the less dead corpses, dead bodies we've got lying around, the better. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. Say, listen.
What are you looking at? We're the Crimson Oars.
What's going on?
You haven't heard of us. We're mercenaries from all over the world. We have won many battles, and tonight, we drink before the next.
You drink here? Dude, the docks has way better bars.
We happen to like the ale better here, the wine too. Less vomit on the floor. So long as we're paying, they're serving!
Right, right. I mean, this bar is one for nobles. Nobles can be, well, they can be nobles.
Nobles? You may have a point there. Fine, we'll leave. We don't want trouble with nobles.
I mean, does anybody want trouble with nobles? It's just a headache.
Edwina sends her thanks for getting rid of the Crimson Oars. Mind you, she's disappointed there was no fighting. Here's payment. You've helped out a great deal.
You're welcome. 3 gold. We can almost afford one of the best belts in the game, which I'm not even probably going to get, because we still got to get our dragon armor. You know, that's not true, Eva. I can think of 1 setting. No, 2 settings where that's not true. Wow. Okay, hold on. So let me check my lurg really quick here. So that we're never doing. That we're never doing. That can go directly to hell. That we're not doing. That's bugged. That's nothing. That's nothing. Yeah, the game really expects me to go to Redcliffe at this point. That's what I thought.
All men are the work of our native.
No kidding, von Falkenstein. All right. Yeah, I guess we have to go to Redcliffe next. Damn. I was hoping to do it after the Alien Age, but it looks like we have to. Okay, whatever. I guess we cannot do the Alien Age yet. Well, please elucidate, Lord Harriman, because I couldn't figure out how to do anything. Oh, that's true. We could do Sacred Ashes. You know what? That's a good point. Let's go do that. Rewind. Doodle 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 doodle. Short-sighted. Yeah, we need to get those fools some glasses. Am I right? So let's go talk to Brother Genitivi, shall we? I'm sure he is doing wonderful. It's fine, Evo. It's fine.
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts. Wrecked from Orson.
Hey, what's up?
Yes. What are you doing here?
Who are you?
My name is Waylon. I'm the assistant of the scholar Brother Genitivi. This is his house.
Huh. Right. Who's Brother Genitivi?
He's an eminent scholar and researcher who serves the Great Chantry. When you first came in, I was hoping that you had news of Brother Genitivi. Wishful thinking, it seems.
Right. Something happened to Brother Genitivi?
I haven't seen Brother Genitivi in weeks. He sent no word. It's so unlike him. Genitivi was on the trail of the Urn of Sacred Ashes. I fear he has gotten too close to the truth.
I've already given that negative. Moving on. Do you think he's in trouble because the urn?
Perhaps the urn has been lost for a reason. I pray for Genitivi's safety, but hope dwindles with each passing day. I tried to send help, but some knights came from Redcliffe looking for him not long ago. I sent them after Genitivi, and they too have disappeared.
Where'd you send them?
Now, don't ask me where they went. You'll go after them. And what if ill luck should befall you too? This search is a curse on all of us. Some things are not meant to be found. I know that now.
But the discovery would bring hope to many people.
So be it. All he said before he left was that he would be staying at an inn near Lake Calenhard, investigating something in that area.
What exactly was he investigating?
I don't know. All I discovered from going through his research was that he was staying at the inn.
You just said he spoke to you and told you that.
Yes, of course he told me, but I also went through his things to see if I could find other clues to his whereabouts.
So, why exactly? Are you hiding something?
That's not true. I told you everything I know. Brother Genitivi told me about the inn, and that's all.
Us?
Us? I mean me. There is no us. Bah! Why do I keep up this charade? I gave you a chance to turn aside and forget you ever heard of Genitivi and the urn, but you persisted. Now it has come to this. Andraste, forgive me, I do this in your name.
Do you really think for even a microsecond you could do anything to me? Like, I know you've got spells, but dude, you're dead. You're already dead, quite literally. Like, every single one of us, individually, is better than you. If we all hit you at the same time, you will explode. Oh, this moron. Alright, whatever. So, you remember how I just mentioned how this city, canonically, does not have good corpse disposal? You also remember how I mentioned that this city stinks. Well,
let's get started.
Did you know that corpses, like, say, this guy right here, stink a lot? As I said before, human bodies stink in a way that most people aren't familiar with, which is a good thing. Most people should not have to smell a dead body. But when I say in a way you're not familiar with, I'm not joking. They stink. And we didn't even notice. There's just the real guy right there, because that's just Denerim. You just kind of get used to it after a while. Medieval cities. Good times. Good times. So, now we should have Haven on the map. Do believes. Yeah, this guy just doesn't know what he's doing. Yes, I did, Mr. Red. And I stand by that. At least, let me walk that back. At least within Ferelden. Nah, the gifts just take up inventory space, Von Falkenstein. Like, I've only got 42 slots right now. Although it is down a little bit. Fine. Fine, fine. But this is the last time I'm ever looting. Ever. Okay, we've looted. I just realized we have to change our party makeup too. Which means we're going to have to fight the High Dragon without a tank. So that's going to suck. But whatever.
Dwarven crafts.
Fine, Dwarven crap. You know, that's a good point. That's a good point. We don't need more stinking gifts. I throw it on the ground. I'm an adult. Sorry, sorry. Why would I do that, Shadow Machine? I want my armor. There's a term for that, and I can't think of what it is. But yeah, cities used to be used to bleed out population, and the only reason that cities would actually survive is because people would keep moving to them. More people would die than would be born. It's the simplest way to put that. Cities used to be really, really, really unpleasant places to live. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring... Well, we need Wynn. She's a permanent party member. There's no avoiding that. We'll go ahead and bring Sten, because he does have a cutscene coming up. And we'll bring Ogren. There it is. It always amuses me how popular medieval setting is for fiction, because, God, that would just be awful, wouldn't it? Oh, I was hoping for the Liliana one again. Ooh, well. Sorry, Liliana. I didn't bring you in the party. That's why we didn't get yours. It's just, as I am fond of saying, if I was born I don't know, good 20, 30 years before I was, I'd probably be dead. Like, that's not me being morbid or suicidal. That's just a fact. I know, if only we could bring more than 3 party members. Alas.
What are you doing in Haven? There's nothing for you here.
So this is Haven?
What do you want?
I'm looking for a Brother Genetivi.
Who? Perhaps revered Father Eirik will know of whom you speak. Unfortunately, he's ministering to the villagers at the moment and cannot be disturbed. I suggest you seek your brother elsewhere.
My God, it's Loghain! Also, why do you have a revered father? Priests or women?
It's always been thus in Haven. We do not question tradition.
I'm going to explore for a while.
We do not appreciate lowlanders looking about our home as though it was some sort of zoo.
Okay.
You may trade for supplies at the shop if you wish. Then I suggest you and your companions leave.
I suggest we tread carefully here. Something is amiss.
Yeah, let's kill all of these people.
Interesting strategy. Tell me, do you intend to keep going north until it becomes south and attack the Archdemon from the rear?
You'll never see it coming.
Truly, it would surprise me if my enemy counterattacked by running away and climbing a mountain.
Do you have a better idea?
The Archdemon is our goal, and we are heading away from it to find the charred remnants of a dead woman. I will not simply follow in your shadow as you run from battle.
You realize I'm not running, right, Sten?
Then turn and fight. You keep the Darkspawn waiting.
There's a couple ways to handle that, but... Alright, now we're gonna do this.
As you wish.
You can actually fight him during that fight. During that
started.
encounter. So now we're gonna get rid of him. We need Oghren for this, and I want Liliana for this. This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. Woo! Hi, Ross. I mean, I agree with what Kira White Noise said earlier. We all like Sten because we like Sten as a character, but honestly, he's not really that great of a guy. He's not that understanding. He's not that tolerant. He's Kuhn. Through and through. Top to bottom. And everything that implies. And, it's not really a good thing, for being honest. Really? Shadow Machine? That's funny. I'm so sorry, Ross. Are you okay? Do you need a moment? Like, you might... It's okay. It's okay. I understand. I understand. I mean, Sten could be worse. Really. But, yeah, no, Sten's... I would say Sten is my second least favorite party member in Dragon Age Origins. I do still like him, but it's at the lower edge of things. Like, he's probably not a single positive worthy, put it that way. No comment, Ross. I need liquid. I don't have liquid. There is one Arishok. One Qunari character I really like. And only one, by the way. And it's... I just gave it away. It's the Arishok from 2. But...
Who are you? You're not from Haven.
Sell to me or die!
I don't have much, but I suppose you can take a look.
Good decision. A lot of Andraste stuff. My goodness. A lot of poison, too. Jeez Louise. Start buying potions everywhere we go, because that's going to become more and more of a thing. The Arishok... I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, he's a fascinating, well-written character. But he's... yeah. I think the simplest and easiest way to put it is he is absolutely one of our enemies. He is a villain. But, I mean, I like plenty of villainous characters, right? There's a wonderful speech I plan to give when we get to Dragon Age 2, because it's just... It's really hard for me not to sympathize with the Arishok in 2. And I know how that sounds, but God, do I mean it. just... we'll get there. We'll get there. I will, Evo. I will. I look forward to hitting to 2. Exactly, Lord Harrimont. Arishok is a villain that I enjoy as a villain. And then there's the other villains of Dragon Age 2, where it's like, oh my god. Get off my screen. Like, the Chantry lady. I forget her name, but you know the one. You know, the one with the giant rack? Oh, that doesn't narrow it down, does it? No, not Meredith. That's the Templar. No, not our sister. She's got an even bigger rack. The evil sister. She's... oh, God, I want to strangle her with my bare hands. Oh, God. Yeah, it's... Anyways.
We are blessed beyond measure. We are chosen by the holy and beloved to be her guardians. This sacred duty is given to us alone. Rejoice, my brethren, and prepare your hearts to receive her. Lift up your voices and despair not, for she will raise her faithful servants to glory when her... I understand that you are new here, but common courtesy dictates that one shouldn't interrupt. No matter. We were just about done here anyway.
But, Your Reverence, we have not completed the sacraments of the Holy Mother or sung the invocation.
Be calm, Nodda. We have an honored guest. Surely the sacraments can wait.
The way they go on about that, you'd think this was about sex.
That is all for today, my children. I shall see you tomorrow. For now, I should see to our visitor.
Right. I should go.
We find outsiders disruptive. They bring others, and before long, Haven is changed. We will go to any lengths to prevent that. You understand a man's need to protect his family, don't you? Brothers, you know what must be done.
Lightsaber sounds.
You forced our hand. Time for some fun. Let's get started.
Yeah, their gene pool is a puddle. Whatever. Let's go rescue what's-his-face. Hey. Hey!
Who are you? They've sent you to finish it.
Brother... My name's Lord Runner. I'm here to rescue you. I was sent by Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You don't know how glad I am to see someone who isn't from this village. The leg's not doing so well, and I can't feel my foot.
Here, have some bandages. I'll also win, but
you know. Thank you. That feels much better. I don't have time to rest now. I'm so close. The urn is just up that mountain.
How do you know?
My research led me to Haven, and I have heard the villagers talking. I know the urn is here. Haven lies in the shadow of the mountain that holds the urn. There is an old temple there built to protect it. The door is always locked, but I know what the key is. Eirik wears a medallion that opens the temple door. I've seen what he does with it.
I killed him, but I didn't find a medallion.
Eirik has always worn it. It must be on his body. Search for it.
I have to loot his body?
Into the mountain.
Alright.
I'm not going.
I have to click a corpse? I feel dirty. Can I just, like, resurrect him as an undead minion and have him do the thing?
Ah, you're back. Well?
Here.
Yes, that is your key. Take me to the mountainside, and I will show you.
Hold on a second.
All right. What is on your mind?
Do you know what happened about the knights that were sent to look for you?
Yes, of course. How could I forget? Eirik said they were ambushed, some killed, a few brought back to Haven to be questioned. He was so self-righteous about it, so smug. He seemed pleased that he had tortured and murdered these men.
I mean, he's dead.
There's nothing I can do but pray those men have found peace. Let's just talk about something else now, shall we?
Yeah, okay. You realize this town's, well, you know.
Well, it wasn't exactly what I expected it to be.
Alright. So why do they have revered fathers?
I do not know. When the Chantry was established, it was decided that only female priests would ever be ordained. It is possible that the villagers, the disciples of Andraste, predate the Chantry, and so have no knowledge of the Chantry's rules.
Cool. What do you know about these people?
They call themselves the Disciples of Andraste, and they are very, very devoted. One could say fanatically so. They must be here to protect the urn, but they speak of Andraste as though she was still alive.
So they're probably talking about the urn.
I thought so at first, but I'm not so sure anymore. Was there something else you wanted to discuss?
Okay. What were they doing with you?
They seemed intent on finding out personal information about me, where I grew up, things like that.
That's weird. They're probably planning to put a fake Genitivi in Denerim.
How do you know?
There was an imposter Wayland at your house.
An imposter? What happened to the real Wayland?
You,
Oh, poor Wayland. I should never have dragged you into this. Make us take you into his hands, my boy.
Right. I'm sorry.
He believed in me, even when I lost faith in myself. I will honor his memory. Was there something else you wanted to say?
Right. Let's go.
Ah, good. Help me up here. I'll try not to slow us down. Here we are. Give me the medallion, and let's see if I remember.
You better remember. Yes, also have to bring,
just like this.
Shale for this.
A key to open the way.
Cool. You stay here.
There are very few keys like this left in the world, but I have seen some.
You're not listening.
When you find the right combination, it just feels right. It is hard to explain. Now, let's see if we can open this door. There should be a place to insert this.
You know, it could be worse.
What I would give to have seen this hall in all its splendor, as it was meant to be. Still, sweep away the ice and the snow, and traces of beauty remain.
Very Lord of the Rings.
I'm sorry, what? I was a little distracted. I apologize.
Hey!
These
Hey!
carvings were created just after Andraste's death.
Genitivi.
And they may reveal things about her life that we do not yet know.
Dude.
I think I need more time to study these statues and carvings.
Fine. Stay here.
I could not keep up with you with my injuries. I should be safe. I don't think there are any villagers here. Go. I will be all right. Perhaps my destiny was only to lead you to the Anne.
There's no such thing as destiny.
It's my job. Just be careful, that's all I ask. The temple is perilous. I'll be right here if you need me. Now I need something to write on.
Cool. So, it could be worse. Bunch of people worshipping dragons. At least there's a very, very dumb, stupid, worthless, terrible, awful, no good, very bad logic to that. But imagine if there's a bunch of people who worship Darkspawn and are like, yes, and when we ascend, we too shall take the taint into our bodies, and we shall become as the Holy Ones.
This is so wrong.
I mean, that'd be fun. Fortunately, that's definitely not a thing. Genova. Dynafire. There, I lit them on fire. You wrap up. Speaking as a long-term career Voyager basher, I agree, Ross. In all honesty, I think Voyager has some of the same problems most things do. Most people tend to remember something early on that's bad and don't really get to the good, and, well, you know my opinion on Season 2. Oh, I actually have Liliana with me. And it's worthless. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. Oh, I mean, there were a lot of people here. They're all gonna die, but, you know.
This should be easy enough.
Allow me. I could do that for you.
Then do it.
I'll do it.
Thanks. I haven't actually reviewed Voyager yet, but I've thought many times about what my favorite episode of Voyager would be, and the more I think about it, the more I gravitate towards Workforce. I know that's cheat, because it's a two-parter, but then again, my favorite TNG episode's kind of a two-parter too, so whatever. Yeah, name a good season of Trek, and I'll call you a liar. Excuse me, let me phrase that more accurately. Name a universally good season of Trek, and I'll call you a liar. Having said that, there are some individual seasons which trend one way or the other. You win being called a liar, Ross, because I haven't seen Strange New Worlds. And at this point, may never. Of course, the same is true in the other way. Name a universally bad season of Trek. Call you a liar.
Only one shall stand. You could do better than that. On your guard.
Here, like, for example, let me use an example here of what I'm talking about. While my minions clean up this trash. Continue killing for me, minions. How did they get that up here? Anyways, let's see. TNG Season 4. Here it is. Season 4. So TNG Season 4 has some bangers, right? That's we're just going to start with that. It's got some really good stuff. And it has Legacy. And Suddenly Human. The Loss, which is... It's got Devil's Due, which... Galaxy's Child, and Cupid. Can't forget that one. Also The Host. So, even Season 4 of TNG, which is a very, very solid season, has and in it. But hang on, we can do better than that. So we got Season 5, right? Really good stuff. We've got Disaster, we've got Unification, Matter of Time, we've got Conundrum, personal favorite of mine. Some really great stuff. A Cause and Effect, another personal favorite of mine. And then it has Cost of Living. Also Imaginary Friend. I know this one's kind of debatable, but it also has Hero Worship, which, while inoffensive, is just boring. And this is sort of the point I'm making. Even seasons that are really solid seasons tend to have things that are just like, you know? And vice versa. Even Season 1 of TNG has some good stuff, and even Season 2 of Voyager has some good stuff. Hell, even Season 3 of TOS has some good stuff to continue the trend. That's just track. That's just how that is. I feel like I have aggro for some reason. I'm not sure why. Anyways, we've talked about Star Trek. Let's talk about Star Wars. So the Force sucks and we should get rid of it. Okay, now let's talk about Warcraft. Why was the best MMO ever made? And that's a true statement and not any kind of a joke. Let's see. I think that's everything. We've covered the gamut here. What else can we talk about really quick? Tonight! No,
Scream for mercy!
Old games are the best games. Also, new games are the best games. And old games suck. All old games suck. And all new games suck. There's been nothing good. Industry is dying. Video games are dying as a medium. I understand why people think that, Colgrim, and I massively disagree. I honestly think a lot of people forget how bad Wrath was, because they were still figuring out several aspects of game design when it came to Wrath of the Lich King. I honestly feel like most people forget how much of a pain leveling was, how badly designed the zones were, how badly designed the quests were, how many issues... Oh, Jesus Christ! How many issues they had with the layering, which was kind of still in its infancy. You know.
As you wish.
Oh, God. And yeah, some of the zones... Like, I even remember Zuldrak quite fondly. But if I'm being honest, leveling through Zuldrak is a slog. I just happen to enjoy several aspects of the story enough in order to go through there. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to make me very unpopular, Colgrim, but I stand by it. I think Shadowlands has better gameplay than Wrath. And I mean that. Now, of course, gameplay is a huge category, and there's a lot of things that go into that, but I'm primarily talking about the quest flow, leveling, class design, quest design, stuff like that. I'm going to go with dungeons as well. I think the dungeons in Shadowlands are really good, because, you know, they are. The raids, there were some good raids in Shadowlands, but apparently I need to loot! God damn it, game. Why do you expect me to loot? Why do you just assume that every player is automatically looting everything? So Rost asks a very interesting question. Where do I think each MMO I've played has peaked? Now let's add a caveat to that. Let's presume we do not include the MMOs that are still going status. To explain what I mean by that. imagine for a moment that WoW stopped at Shadowlands, and FF14 stopped at Endwalker, and so forth and so on, right? So the ones that are still going, you know, those ones, we're discounting the stuff that is still going. So under those provisos, where has each MMO peaked? Now let me think about that for a moment. FF14 is admittedly easy. Shadowbringers. The Shadowbringer, there it is. The Shadowbringers MSQ is, you know, legit. And I was really, really enjoying going back through it. Guild Wars 2, I would say that I would disagree with Mr. Colgrim. Unfortunately, I would say that the Dragon expansion, which I can't remember the name of, is where it peaked for me personally. If I had to pick something other than the Dragon expansion, I would probably go with the Fire expansion, which I also can't think of the name of. Because, see, the thing is, I went through Heart of Thorns again somewhat recently and hated it. It was the Wrath of the Lich King of Guild Wars 2, which makes sense when you think about it. No, I mean that. I'm not actually memeing. It was when the game started to get good, but had not yet gotten good, is my opinion on that matter. Because you look at Vanilla versus Heart of Thorns, night and day. And you got to remember, there was also an in-between there. There was an in-between barrier of the patch content leading up to Heart of Thorns, where it started getting good. That's BC, right? That's the BC equivalent. And then Heart of Thorns is Wrath, and then Flame, that's Cataclysm. Which, by the way, speaking of which, when did WoW peak? Legion! There's absolutely no debate on that in my mind. I can't even consider anywhere else as being close to Legion.
Right.
I have the key. Okay, fine, whatever. Like, there are several expansions of WoW I have enjoyed, but Legion, you know? In STO, that's a little bit trickier. Really, guys? Really? Why are there so many of you? Why do you exist? But I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. So, we did World of Warcraft, which is Legion. Star Trek Online would be the Iconian patches, whatever that is. Whatever you want to call that era. End of Dragons for Guild Wars 2. Although, I'll admit that one's kind of a debatable for me. In FF14, I absolutely think it's Shadowbringers. If for no other reason, then... I think the Endwalker's MSQ drags Endwalker down a bit. But the problem here is, by my own rules, Endwalker doesn't count. Because I haven't done it yet. So, we have to only include ARR 1.0, if you even count that. Heaven's Word, Stormblood, and Shadowbringers. So based on that, the only thing that counts, like, it's again, it's a gimme. Of course it's Shadowbringers, right? Asheron's Call did have expansions. I was actually going to bring that one up next. Dark Majesty. So Dark Majesty, for those of you who were not there for that, added a whole new zone and some new stuff. And it was when gameplay finally started entering Asheron's Call, to say that as bluntly as I possibly can. Now, Asheron's Call had a second expansion, which sucked. And I can explain why. Very, very simply. It's like this. I want you to imagine that there is a game you like to play. It doesn't have to be an MMO. Picture that game in your mind, whatever it is. Okay? Just put it in your head. Also, anybody like the statues around here? You like these things? Look at those. Look at those. Cute, huh? Anyways, so you got a game. You got it in your mind. You know it very, very well. Now, I want you to imagine that the developers of that game have put out an expansion to that game that you love very much, designed entirely to be played by the top 0.5% of the min-maxers. The people who have been no-lifing the game for years and have the best of everything and the maxed of everything, and the new content is designed for them. And that was the second expansion of Asheron's Call, and it sucked. Because, and this is the worst part, because even if you were at that level, which, by the way, I was, it doesn't change the fact that it was arduous. It wasn't difficult. It was just oh, okay, I have to slog through these mega mobs in order to get this item, which gives me even more mega power. And it was the beginning of the end for Asheron's Call, because from that point onwards, Asheron's Call shifted focus entirely towards the 0.5%. That was the decision they made. It's a decision, kinda, yeah, Colgrim. It was a decision that a lot of MMOs make at some point in their career. They have to decide, what is our core player base that we are going to spend the most of our time on? World of Warcraft decided on raiders, something I disagree with, by the way. I think that was a mistake. Final Fantasy XIV decided to focus on the storytelling side of the things. Guild Wars 2 also decided on storytelling, but also fashion. Big thing in Guild Wars 2, very big thing. Asheron's Call decided on the min-maxers. EVE Online decided to focus on the ultra corporations. You get it. Every MMO does this. Every single one of them. So, Asheron's Call decided to focus on the min-maxers, and in my honest opinion, it was the end of the game. Oh yeah, STO, very heavily focused on the casuals and on the slow power creep of the ships, which is... And Tor focused on the money. Yeah, it's the simplest way to put that. And there you go.
As you wish.
Yeah, the ship treadmill in STO is real. Did you know they're currently patching STO right now to add in a whole new thing where you can add... none of this is going to mean anything to you if you don't know the game. Think about it like this way. Imagine if for a moment that you had your equipment slot like this, and they're adding a thing where you can actually add another ring, for example, or another weapon that you could have equipped at the same time. That's kind of what STO is doing now. And they just keep doing this. They just keep adding more and more and more power creep. And that's just... That's their approach. That's been their approach for years.
A little frantic.
And while I love the build gameplay in STO, and I do, I gave it like 15 separate positives, because it's extraordinarily well designed, the fact of the matter is, chasing that number is just not something I find engaging. Also, with Embracer Group THQing, so assuming no change in resources. In other words, all we're doing is adjusting the existing levels in the tank. What part of the audience, where would I focus on an audience in WoW? Real talk? I would focus a lot more on the one thing that none of the big MMOs are currently focusing on. And that would be the dynamic between gameplay and players. This is actually really hard to explain in one sentence because it's a big, long, complicated thing that involves a lot of changes. But the idea here is, rather than focusing on like one specific thing, I would try to make WoW in such a way so that you can... Correct, Van Falkenstein. You can... interact more with the other players in the game in a way that complements the story and the gameplay. I know that's a terrible summary, but it's the best way I could summarize it, I think. Let me give you one example right off the top of my head, okay? You ready for this? And I'm curious how many of you are going to call me crazy or think, oh, that's a great idea. Just completely get rid of soul binding in World of Warcraft. Eject it from the game entirely. So if I get an item, all items, 100% of items are tradable. Or probably more like 99%, but whatever. So all of a sudden, and I know that sounds like a minor change. First of all, it's not a minor change. But second of all, that would completely change the dynamic of how a lot of the game interacts with itself. All of a sudden, you get a quest drop, and it's not really worthwhile for you, but it might be worthwhile for someone else. Maybe a friend, maybe a guildmate. Maybe you have a chest, maybe for the guild. Maybe it doesn't even have to be for the guild. Maybe just you can actually add a mechanic where there's like a potluck chest that people can just toss gear into if they feel like it, and pull gear out of if they feel like it. And you can just do that. There are it would change the nature of how many people would be willing to do certain types of quests, or how much people would be willing to go do the elite stuff. It would give more of a motivation to group up with randos because all of a sudden you might have something they want, or vice versa. It would now, it's not a universally positive change, because there is one other really big change that would have to happen in order to balance that out, and that's the auction house. And as you might know, because I've studied MMOs for the better part of 20 years, every MMO, and I do mean all of them, has the exact same problem when it comes to their in-game economies. They weren't designed and they weren't managed, so they just ran wild. Every single MMO, all of them, has a rampant amount of inflation, and the top 1% are running everything. And you might think, well, that's just like in real life. Yeah, that's nice, but this is a video game. And there are demonstrable, tangible detriments for that being a status within an MMO. There are a lot of more complex things that I'm not going to bore you with right now of what we could do in order to fix that. But here's the easy fix. You ready for the easy fix? You ready for the thing you can put on the bumper sticker? Delete the gold from the top 1%. Just eject it from the game. Because we could do that because it's an MMO. We have total control over the economy in an MMO, unlike in real life. So that is actually possible. And it should be done. The reason gold sinks exist is to pull money out of the game. But the problem is, if you try to pull if you try to put money sinks into a game, and for the uber rich, all you've done is given the uber rich another toy. And then the rest of the enormous amount of wealth that they have, they'll just use to keep generating more wealth, because that's how that works. So it doesn't actually solve anything. You farm up 1 million gold, or 90 million gil to buy something, and that's nothing for them. That's a drop in the barrel for them, right? They probably have another account and multiple other characters who all have already maxed gold, or gil, or whatever. I mean, we talked about this during the STO run. To be perfectly blunt, yeah, MMOs need to sweep out the gold from the upper percent every now and again, because otherwise you're just going to have people who squat on the markets, which is what happens. This isn't hypothetical. This isn't like real life where I can't prove to you something with total certainty. I can point to tangible figures that exist in MMOs that prove that there is a small percentage of people who have all the money, like 99.9% of the money of MMOs. The two big ones I know are FF14 and World of Warcraft. And they just own the market. They just control the market, and they decide what money is spent where and how. Yeah, the dilithium exchange is bonkers over in Star Trek Online. To use another example of this. Sorry. It's actually really frustrating to me, because while it is the kind of thing that takes a lot of work and effort to really solve, because the bumper sticker solution is really only a band-aid, if you think about it. What we need to do is a lot of much smaller and much more boring and much less interesting solutions in order to actually solve the problem, just like in real life. But even if we did all those little things to fix the economy, you still need to etch-a-sketch the upper 1%. You have to. You need to reset the board, right? Otherwise, it's just going to stay as slanted as it already is, which has happened. So many MMOs have constantly been like, let's try these new methods and things in order to try and make the system work. And in many cases, they have improved the economies of the game in question. World of Warcraft themselves recently completely overhauled the way their auction house works, and it's overall for the benefit of the players. But it doesn't matter, because the top 0.5%, I keep saying 1%, the top 0.5% still own the economy. I'm done. I apologize for ranting about video game economics. I'm a geek. So, let's go kill some dragons in another video game. What's up? Oh god. Run.
Right.
So, reverse question. Lowest point of each MMO that I have played. Let's start with the obvious one. World of Warcraft. Vanilla. No question. No hesitation. For all the absolute pissed offness I was about BFA, and for all the slog and redunculousness about Shadowlands' MSQ, at the end of the day, vanilla just was vanilla. So that's an easy gimme. I was actually about to say, for FF14, we have to define, do we count 1.0? I don't. I consider it a completely separate game. So in FF14's case, it's ARR, which was the beginning of FF14, which is still a slog and still aggravating to go through in order to get to the good stuff. Which brings me, of course, to Guild Wars 2, in which case the answer is vanilla. So That's okay, because then we got Star Trek Online, where the worst part is vanilla. Hang on. Is there any MMO where vanilla is not the worst part of the game? And this is true even with Tor. Because Vanilla Tor may be one of the better vanillas, but think about all the garbage that's in Vanilla Tor. Jedi Knight and Trooper alone. Never mind all the other issues that has.
As you wish.
I mean, frickin' God, just... Corellia. Frickin' Corellia, right? Okay.
You're mine.
To be perfectly honest, yes, Ross. And I can say that because I played STO in vanilla. It was bad. It was bad. The Sister of Takuvma was like 40 negatives to story or some insane thing like that. I forget the exact number. But the Sister of Takuvma does not even compare to STO's vanilla. Something I didn't even show you because it doesn't exist anymore. So hang on. Thinking of other MMOs. Asheron's Call? You know, hang on.
As you wish. You had it coming. You're mine.
No, I would say Lotra's was at its worst in vanilla.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Delta Rising. Oh god, Junk Garage. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I did not show you guys vanilla STO because it doesn't exist anymore. Oh yeah, I remember Mines of Moria was a sea change, and I'm not actually a huge fan of Mines of Moria in several ways, but man, that was a step up.
On your guard.
What vanilla was the worst? Ooh, now that's tricky. Let me think about that for a second. No. We're not counting FF14 1.0. Because that's the cheat. That's the cheat. Like that doesn't even equate.
Rath was so jealous of Andraste's power that he betrayed her to the Imperium, which resulted in her death.
Okay, thanks for the history lesson, Liliana. Appreciate it. Doing the wall, Lauren, will I show off WoW Classic? I mean, I could, but then I'd have to claw my own eyes out. Oh, you mean you want them to claw their eyes out? Ooh. Ooh, yes. I do love people clawing their eyes out. Yes. Hang on, I sat there and talked too long. Let's get a memory refresh here. Oh God, yeah, no, I'm with you on that, Estes Flakes. Plus, Moria added the legendary system, which I actually rather enjoyed. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was a pretty big step up from how gear was done in vanilla. Yeah, ARR was a net positive, which actually surprised a few people. And honestly, I kind of agree. I think ARR is probably the best vanilla of the various vanillas. I'm also not going to count things like Ultima Online or EverQuest, because while I have played those games at launch, at vanilla, that's a gimme, right? To be as blunt as I can, and I'm going to say this very bluntly, Ultima Online at launch and EverQuest at launch were not video games in any sense that matters. Just laying that down there. Yeah, they weren't even trying to be video games. They were trying to do their own thing. I would say Planes of Knowledge is when EverQuest became a video game. Feel free to challenge me on this. That's just my take on it. It's coming live. Yes, Blade Travel. Champions Online. I never played it. So, So the best vanilla... FF14 might take it. I obviously spit a lot of venom at WoW Vanilla. But if I'm being completely honest with myself, it's probably one of the better vanillas out there. And I feel... Oh, God, stop stunning me! And we're dead. Jesus! God damn, did you see that? Yeah, we're gonna... We died. We just died. Holy crap. That was just death. WoW Vanilla has all the problems, right? It has irritating interface, it has frustrating quest design, it has boring slog, it does not just does not value the player's time whatsoever. It takes, like, the seconds and minutes problem is so prolific in WoW. I would have to go down the list to come up with to explain just how awful it is. And so forth and so on and so forth and so on, right? They hadn't really nailed dungeon design yet. The gear was all over the place in terms of itemization, and in terms of gold drops, and the crafting system was just kind of extraordinarily lopsided. It was a whole mess, right? I would still put that above several other MMOs, vanillas, including Guild Wars 2, which... I'm sure Colgrim's going to hate me for this, but I think honestly Guild Wars 2 vanilla might be the worst of the current ones, of the big ones. It's so bad. It's so bad. I honestly, even to this day, am considering skipping it when it comes to the review. It's hard to even properly explain how bad it is. It's just... It's absent. It's probably the best way to explain that. I had the great misfortune of pushing all the way through the MSQ, the main story quest, of Guild Wars 2 Vanilla when it came out. And I got all the way to the end, and then said, alright, I'm never playing this game again. And I put it down for years. The first time I picked Guild Wars 2 back up was during the Flame expansion. First thing I did, and a friend of mine had to try to talk me into it for years. I finally picked it back up. He took me out so I could get my mount really quick. And then we went back and we started doing the patch content leading up to Heart of Thorns. And it is, as I told Colgrim earlier, it is a huge jump up in quality. But even like that early stuff is still not what I would call good. It's just the beginnings of good, right? Let's say they're starting to figure out what they were doing. And then it just kind of kept getting better and better and better and better. And then there's this one dip when COVID hit, and then it kept getting better and better and better. There's a reason I say the most recent expansion is where I think Guild Wars 2 is at its peak. But God, vanilla. I can't even put into words how vacuous and how empty. And I know I'm just repeating myself because I feel like I'm underestimating this. I feel like I'm underemphasizing this. It is so vacuous, Guild Wars 2 Vanilla. You go do hearts, you do exploring, you do random events. You do the most... We talk about the difference between like primary mandatory stuff, that's MSQ, primary optional stuff, that's meat content, secondary stuff, that's usually used for like flavor, humor, character building, world building. And then there's tasks. At the very bottom of the content chart are tasks. And that's Guild Wars 2 Vanilla. Not the whole game, but the ridiculous majority of content in Guild Wars 2 Vanilla is just tasks. You just do X of Y's with no context, with no reason, with no anything, just to progress. And it is awful. Forgive me. Yeah, this actually came up recently because I was playing Guild Wars 2 last night. It's just... Oh, man, it's bad. Oh, God. And the worst part is there is some meat content, and it's not good. The main story quest of Guild Wars 2 Vanilla is what I would call actively bad. Like, probably a net negative on story. Let me summarize the entire MSQ of all of Guild Wars 2 Vanilla in one sentence, okay? There's an evil dragon, go kill him. I'm not being facetious, though. If I was to really go in depth into the lore, really sink my teeth into the nature and depth and breadth of what's going on, I would also mention the fact that you have to gather together several of the orders that have become fractured over the course of time into one unified military front, and then go kill the dragon. The gameplay, they've gotten a lot better at their event design. So while they still use events, like they used to back in the day, they're so much better nowadays. Events have gotten a lot better. Back in the day, events, which is a decent chunk of the gameplay, are just not, I think is the way. They're tasks. They're tasks. The hearts are tasks. The events are tasks. The big metas are cool. There were a couple of good big metas back in the day, but they were not super well designed and extraordinarily unbalanced because of the fact that back in Vanilla, and this is funny, they hadn't designed the game around the fact that there's no healers and no tanks yet. Later on, they would start designing their large-scale encounters and event chains around the fact that there's no tanks and no healers. But back in the day, God, it was so... I will never forgive... You remember the Centaur one, Colgrim? I forget what that is, but you know the one, right? The Centaur one in Vanilla, right? The Centaur meta chain. Get to the end boss, and the way we were doing it was really, really simple. So what you would do is you'd run up and you'd attack, and because there's no... Yeah, it's in Metrica. Because the boss doesn't really have an aggro table, he just hits whoever. And naturally, because there's no tanks, he would destroy them in about 2 hits because there's no healers. So they would die, and then he'd move on to his next target, and he'd kill them. And then he'd move on to his next target, and he'd kill them. And what we would do is we would essentially fling our own bodies at this guy in order to kill him. Because it was the only strategy. There was nothing else we could do. We'd already capped. And Guild Wars 2 caps your level per zone, by the way. Which is a decision I do not agree with while we're on the subject. Just... Ah! I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, there's ways to tank now. There's ways to heal now. Didn't exist back then. Now, one of my favorite builds in Guild Wars 2 is a Guardian who is pure support. I have absolutely terrible DPS, but I can heal and I can buff and I can buff and I can buff. And it's a lot of fun. I love doing the buff cycle with that character. I should be doing this fight while I'm sitting here yammering. I apologize. Oh my god. Oh, no, hang on. Oh my god. No, hang on. Oh my god, there it is. And I can do that now. That's fun. It's funny you say that because Pax was playing a pure support class just last night, Eva. I don't know if you noticed. My main for the longest time was actually a Mesmer. A lot of fun. Okay, so hang on. So let's do... let's go ahead and layer this. Sorry, everyone. This is about to go very badly for everyone.
Is it just me, or do you actually think you have a chance?
Single most fun incident or like era, Mr. Red? So I kind of already answered the era question. We did. Fall is on approach. The heat is on its way out. I actually just went to turn the Asheron's Call. The AC up a bit because I was starting to get overheated. There's only one thing I didn't like about playing a Mesmer. I always felt like I had to nerf my build to always have the portal on, because it was just too useful. There's just too many ways I could use it. So Guild Wars 2 is solo possible. On the scale of solo friendliness, I would say FF14 is at the top. By virtue of being a game that mandates you play it solo. But joking aside, FF14 is probably the most solo-friendly MMO out there. Not counting STO, sorry. So STO, then Final Fantasy XIV. Honestly, then WoW. I know that's a little bit of a weird choice, but WoW is actually very, very solo-friendly. So, yeah. After that, I would probably then put it at Guild Wars 2, which keep in mind, is still solo-friendly. All of the games I just mentioned, every MMO I just mentioned, is soloable and solo-friendly to some extent or another. If we go down one more step and we hit something like ESO or Tor, the solo-friendliness starts to dip a little bit. You can play Tor solo. I don't think you should. There will reach points in that game where you will not like yourself for playing Tor solo. I should know. I've done it. There's a reason why. One of the things I was so grateful for during both Tor streams we've done at this point in my life is for other people helping me to push through some of the slog.
Defend yourself!
I don't even know what AOTC is, Bragwin. But I am going to actually disagree with you. Sorry, Bragwin. Because, no, WoW is extraordinarily solo-friendly at this point. Leveling a character is as smooth and as quick as it has ever been. And there's multiple options to do it. Also, they fixed several of the problems with Chromie time, so that's cool too. And access to dungeons is pretty much just exactly as quick and smooth as it is in FF14, with one noticeable bug, which they haven't fixed yet.
Let's get started.
Listen, Raichu Pika. It's funny you say that. This is one of the only games ever in the history of my show, I've been doing this for 13 years now, that we've actually streamed 3 times. Do you believe that? We've streamed several games twice, and obviously a bunch of games once, but this is the only time we've actually streamed something 3 times. Anyways. Do I regret it? No. This is a great game. We're having fun. This is a great de-gauzer after Baldur's Gate 3, because even though that score doesn't look that positive, let me be very clear to you. This game is a breath of fresh air after playing Baldur's Gate 3. And I know that sounds like an insult, and that's good, because I mean it as one! Alright, so. We've actually only streamed Mass Effect twice.
Right ahead.
All 3 of them. Yeah, Bragwin, I love you, Bragwin. Bragwin has this weird problem where she has PTSD and refuses to level a character. Evo just picked up WoW like a couple weeks ago and is already at, level 61. Do keep in mind that means she doesn't have any heirloom gear and none of the potions or anything other thing. It's just a new player experience. They've improved it a lot, is what I'm trying to say. It is very, very, very new player friendly nowadays. To the point where honestly, just the new player experience is going to get a bucket of positives dropped on it. It is bonkers how much effort they put into it. Makes sense, though. One of the things that WoW understands, which is, I would say, only 3 MMOs out there really understand, is that you need to get new blood in your MMO. Otherwise, you have the same problem that happens in every other MMO, right? Like, there's a reason every MMO out there has been slowly dying. It's math, statistics. Eventually, for whatever reason, real life time, money, interest in the game, interest in the content, get distracted by something else, people drift away bit by bit. You have to get new people involved, otherwise it's just going to die. And WoW, FF14, and Guild Wars 2 have all understood that getting new players involved is a good thing. There's a reason why if you buy a new expansion to Guild Wars 2, you are automatically gifted an item that just says, here, you're max level, with some gear and some stuff. There's a reason that's a thing in Guild Wars 2, you know? I just made an engineer, by the way, Colgrim. Looking forward to doing the Jade Bot build. Although I need to find a Jade Bot build. Do I think any MMO will ever surpass WoW? Nope. Not until I make mine. And that's going to be after I conquer the world, so we got a bit. Would I play any MMO solo? Now, let's ignore the fact that I have streamed STO solo twice. Let's ignore that for a second. It did, Von Falkenstein. In fact, WoW actually has occasional deals like that to this day. For exactly that reason. Are you guys really like this is just what we're doing now? Okay, that's all right. How are you? There's no blame here, Braegon. I understand. I'm just correcting you. I don't know how else to put that. I can't put that elsewise. If I didn't have extremely immediate experience with the new player experience, I wouldn't know it myself, you know. I've also been doing some prep work for the eventual WoW review series, so, you know, there's a lot that goes into that. You get it. The dodge button is a nice feature of Guild Wars 2.
Right ahead.
Absolutely agree with that. So would I willingly play any MMO of my own? No. So here's the deal. I know this is going to sound strange because the thing I bang on about constantly in MMO is game design. And if you know anything about MMOs, you know that game design tends to be, I don't want to say antithetical to, but it tends to run contrary towards social design. In other words, what most people, when most people think about multiplayer design in MMOs, what they mean is a worse designed game, to put that as absolutely bluntly as I can. The reason more people grouped up and interacted with each other and did stuff and talked with each other in trade chat is because they had to. Because the game sucked. That's true for all the MMOs, by the way, not just WoW. It was the option, right? There was no Wowhead. There was no guide. There was no pre-existing knowledge. There was no well-designed quest. There was no new player-friendly experience. It was just, into the deep end. Thunk! Having said that, though, I play MMOs to play games with my friends. That's probably the biggest draw for me. Always has been, and always will be. I got into MMOs when MMOs were invented, when the term was coined, back with Neverwinter Nights, all the way back in the 90s, because of the fact that I love co-op. I always have, and I always will. So, no, I would never, of my own volition, even if I had infinite time, I would never play an MMO by myself. So... yeah, if I wanted to play a game alone, then I would. I know that sounds weird. It's just how it is. I am unfortunately not familiar with RuneScape. As with all the older MMOs, I did poke at RuneScape, but I never got anywhere in it. So I can't speak to that with any level of authority.
Warden senses tingling.
There are so many encounters in these goddamn caves. God damn it. Now, Lord Harrowmont makes the old point. And let's just say this as bluntly as we can. Is there anything wrong with Lord Harrowmont enjoying a bad game because of the fact that it's a bad game? No, absolutely not. There is nothing wrong with that. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of understand why people like worse games. I know that sounds insulting, but I really, really stress, I don't mean it as an insult. But it needs that asterisk. God damn it, I wasn't paying attention to my health. It needs that asterisk of, it's still a bad game.
You should run while you can.
If you're to argue with me that WoW Vanilla is better than WoW Modern as a game, because you enjoy it more, then I'm going to disagree with you. Because you enjoying it, ironically, has nothing to do with whether or not it's a better game. Or I shouldn't say it has nothing to do with it, but it is one of many qualifiers on whether or not it is a good game. I want you to picture this, Evo. I want you to imagine that it's the early days of the internet, okay? So there you are. Early days of the internet. Yay! And you can't really do much on the internet. Like, there's nothing to do. Right? You can browse websites, but there's nothing to do on those websites. And images take forever to load. There's nothing there. So what a lot of people would gravitate towards in internet activity is porn, but also it's true. We should acknowledge it. But also chatting. Now, not chatting as you imagine it nowadays. We're way before that. Back then, what you would have is you would have email groups. Oh no, this is way before Newgrounds, Gigapudding. You would have message boards, you would have email groups, you would have chat programs. And in many cases, a lot of those kind of merged naturally with something, I never remember what it stands for. MUDs. Yeah, the BBS boards, yeah. Usenet, ICQ, all that old stuff. The original IRC stuff. So people would just chat. And that's what you would do. You would talk with other people on the internet. So you can naturally understand, imagine for a moment that you can chat with your friends in the same manner that you've already been doing, but like there's a visual interface and something to do while you're chatting. It's not engaging. It's not particularly fun. It's not like, and again, this is the 90s. We had good games by the 90s, right? We had good games in the 80s, okay? So this stuff was crap, even by the standards of the time. But it was something to do while you chatted with your friends. That's it. That's the appeal, right there. And it's so logical if you put it into that perspective, if you see it from that lens. Because the benefit, the goal, was just to have the social experience. We're social people, right? For everybody who ever tells me that they're shy or introverted or they're a loner or whatever, I always just kind of have this flag in the back of my mind of disbelief. Because we are a very social species. And we absolutely, we like interacting with each other. Sometimes we like interacting with each other negatively. We like arguing and yelling and telling me that Lord Harrimont is the best possible king for sorry. And sometimes we like chatting, and sometimes we like discussing, and sometimes we like just whatever, right? There's so many aspects of social interaction. And being able to do that while having something to occupy us was a novelty. And as Ross just pointed out in chat, all of that gameplay, which I really put in quote-unquotes, of the earliest MMOs, was mostly just time filler. It was just time wasting. Have you ever wondered why a single combat with a random snake in a forest would take you minutes? And I don't mean minutes of intense combat either. I mean just sitting there and kind of watching the combat go back and forth for a couple of minutes, which may not sound like a long period of time. I want you to imagine a single battle against a single enemy that takes several minutes. I'm going to keep emphasizing that because that's how dull that is. But it was something to watch, and it was something to interact with. Right? It was like watching TV with your friend or your family member right next to you. Where you can just chat and hang out, and then you had some... It doesn't matter if it's a good show, right? It's just something there that you can kind of have going on. And it's like, hey, what's up? Pseudo-interactive. And it worked. And I know a lot of people really want to have more of that in the modern era. And I will freely admit it's something I've pushed back against because I tend to be pro-game design. But as I've gotten older, and as I've studied more, and as I've looked into this more, I've kind of softened on this whole topic, and I kind of get it. I still don't want it. I'd rather tear out my hair again. But I at least understand that there is a niche. Niche is the wrong word. There's a pattern of interaction. There's a desire to just sit and chat while doing something kind of idly on the side. And I get that. And honestly, I feel like one of the challenges I would love to tackle in a, holodeck situation or a lottery winning situation is designing an MMO that actually has good gameplay, but is designed to be a chat program. That's designed to be something you do while you just interact with your friends. Because I feel like we could marry these concepts somehow. And if I'm being honest, I'm not sure how. Anyways, thank you for coming to my other TED Talk. I just will not shut up during this quest. I apologize. Oh, Jesus, that's 3 drakes. That's 3 drakes. It's cool. It's cool. We're fine. We're fine. Just gonna run away. Okay, yep. That's not what I want. Oh, God, Oghren, you're the worst. Oh, God, Oghren, why? Oh, God. Okay, we're gonna... Jesus, we're dead. We are turbo dead. We're dead. Dead. If only Alistair was here, but alas. We are on easy, Evo. Also, autoban. Banned forever for asking that question. I hate that question. Anyway, so we're dead. So let's just reload here. And that's because you're not part of that group, Lord Harriman. We drifted. You are part of the masochistic insane group of... I'm sorry, I shouldn't joke. I apologize. I don't actually know what group you belong to, Lord Herman. I cannot presume such a thing. But if I were to guess, I would say you belong to the I want to defeat the game group. This is when you tell me how extremely wrong I am, and I give up guessing because I don't have a second guess. No, not even the tiniest chance, Lothario. The game makes it clear it isn't, and nothing in the lore indicates even remotely that this is Andraste. This is a dragon who happened to nest here, and these guys are dragon worshippers. That's it. That's all. Oh, drakes. Oh, drakes. And yeah, don't shush your mouth, Evo, obviously. I will admit I do get irritated by the what difficulty are you playing on question, but I probably shouldn't have to explain why.
Right.
I understand why you brought it up. Yes, we're currently on the Sacred Ashes quest. It's just... this dungeon, as many of these dungeons tend to be, is just this thing that we're slogging through right now. Hey, look, a goat! Nom, 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 nom. It's fine, Evo. I know you didn't mean anything by it. That's why you're banned forever! No exceptions! We must adhere to tradition with no possible variance. Okay, so another statement that I tend to make, which sounds insulting and isn't, is the entertainment crowd, right? Now, this usually affects movies more than it does video games, but obviously this still has realm in the video game space. How many of you have ever just wanted to watch a movie and you don't care that it's a bad movie? It's flashy, it's entertaining, it hits some story beats. Yeah, popcorn, right? I actually have used this phrase before. I call them popcorn games. Yeah, the Transformers movies when they're actually worth a damn. Assassins.
Must have
Commando. Yeah, there's an older example. There's a lot of examples of that kind of thing, right? Independence Day, although actually Independence Day is a surprisingly well-constructed film, but let's not get into that. It's still a popcorn flick, really. That's the vibe I'm getting from you, Lord Harriman. Am I even close on this? You just want a game that you can just kind of enjoy without having to stress about it, without having to push yourself or pay attention, or be like, oh my god, I've got to put all the pieces together, or oh god, I've got to constantly try or else I'll die every 3 seconds. You know, something like that, right? You're just chilling. Obviously, you're probably thinking, well, no, but I want to progress. I can already hear the counter-argument. But no. Because if you were just spinning your wheels, it wouldn't be fun, would it? It would be irritating. Right? Like, I imagine several of you in chat know what I mean by that. If you're playing a comfy game, but all you're doing is spinning your wheels, then that's just like, after all. We like, another thing human beings like, is we like that sense of progression. something that mobile games tend to prey on. So we like the idea that we're actually getting somewhere and that we're actually accomplishing something. And so, you know, even if you're playing like...
How does anyone navigate these halls?
We have a map. And so you're like, okay, yeah, no, we made another level, or we managed another zone, or I accomplished another thing. I am going the wrong way, aren't I? Yeah, no, that's why, I mean, the visual feedback and the audio feedback of a lot of video games going back to the 80s tends to exist so that you, the player, know you have progressed. This goes all the way back to Super Mario Bros. 1. And you're bigger. And I know that sounds like such a non-applicable example, but no, it's just, it was so far back in game design that that's what progression looked like back then. And then, of course, you actually move on to the next stage. You gain access to the next level, or you gain access to the next warp pipe, or whatever. You get it. To put this in the most fundamentally simple terms I can, nobody wants to play Mario Brothers 1, Super Mario Brothers 1-1 over and over and over, right? We want to go from 1-1 to 1-2, 1-2 to 1-3. You get it. And that's something I understand completely, Lord Harriman. If I can hopefully relate to you on this one, because you and I disagree on everything in the universe. If something I like doing is 100%ing Super Mario Brothers games. And there are exactly 2 that I have not 100%ed that are currently out. Yeah, obviously. Ross. And someday I would like to actually sit down and 100% those 2 games, just because I like being able to say, I have 100%ed every Mario game, right? Accomplishment can be something you look back on, not just something you are doing actively. And yeah, Papa Neeks recently got his Werebear, which, for those of you who know what that means, holy crap. Speaking of which, grats again, Papa Neeks, on that. And for those of you who don't know what that means, he had to do something called the Mage Tower, which is the no really super optional holy crap difficulty. And it's solo only, and it's always locked, so you cannot outgear it. You cannot outgear the Mage Tower. You just have to do it. New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, and New Super Mario Brothers 2 on the 3DS. Played Jamal. This also ties into something that I talk about a lot. I have noticed through experience a lot. Yes, I have, Russ. Oh, I was going the right way. Damn it. I've noticed through a lot of experience that players, in general, tend to value things that are unique or interesting more than that they are good. And for like the fifth time now, I don't mean that as an insult. We talked about that. Okami is one of my favorite examples of that. But there's a lot of examples of this. Yeah, Psychonauts, right? Or, I'll use a personal example. Star Wars Rebellion, which is not a good game. But it's the only Star Wars grand strategy game out there. Honestly, Starfield, which is coming out, is going to allow us to modularly design our houses, aka our starship. That sounds awesome to me. I'm looking forward to that, right? Starfield may or may not be a good game, but the feature interests me, and you get it, right? There's a lot of things that people tend to gravitate towards simply because even if it's not a particularly good game, it's the only one doing that, or it's the only one that appeals to them doing that, and so forth and so on. Alright, let's back off a bit. No. Okay, cool, that should do it.
On it.
This is just a random talkie day, isn't it? As we just do this dungeon. Speaking of which, how many negatives do you think this dungeon deserves? That's a joke. We're giving it 2. So Colgrim asked me a question. What's my opinion on the jumping puzzles in Guild Wars 2? Yes, there are, Ross. I got all of them. And I am proud of that. This ties back into what I was talking to Lord Harriman about. I am proud right now of the fact that I have 100% in Mario Odyssey. And you know the best part about that? I had fun doing it. Not because I'm dumb or stupid or terrible, but because it's a really, really good game. Yeah. Sense of pride and accomplishment, except the real version. Yeah, I've never gotten the 900 Koroks, and I never will. I will never 100% Breath of the Wild.
On it.
That's true, there. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God, it's this fight. I forgot about this fight. Oh, God, I forgot about this fight. Okay, hang on. Yeah, let's do this. And hope that we can get this cast off. Okay, there's one cast off. Okay. Now we're just gonna get knocked over here. We're gonna pop a potion quickly. Thank you. Forward a little bit. Hang on. Okay, and then we're gonna pop this. And we're gonna get overwhelmed because it's the worst ability in the entire game, and we're dead. Okay, so we're gonna reload. We're dead. How many Zeldas have I 100% completed? Let me ask the more relevant question. How many Zeldas have I not 100% completed? Obviously, Breath of the Wild. I never will. Tears of the Kingdom.
No, quarter! Less fighting, more dying, blast you!
You like that? Time to get messy.
No, that's it. Oh, I'm wrong. Sorry, Lord Harriman. Sorry. No, I 100%ed Skyward. But there is actually one other one I didn't 100%. And I don't even remember the specifics. All I remember is it was some kind of terrible mechanism that I wasn't going to put up with. And it's the Minish Cap. And there's something you have to do to get everything in Minish Cap. And it's a colossal pain, and I wasn't putting up with that. Stay here. Is it the seashells? Nah. I thought it was something to do with, like, the rotating trade things you get. Either way, that makes a grand total of 2 Zelda games I haven't 100%ed and 2 Mario games.
Show me what you've got.
I think it might have been the seashells, now that you're saying that.
Let's get started.
Anyways, will I try on the Zelda block? No. Will I do it in the Mario block? Yes, I do actually plan to 100% both Marios I haven't while we're going through the Mario block. Just kind of fill out that trophy, so to speak. And I don't need to explain trophy hunting to you guys. You guys probably trophy hunt more than I do. How many of you platinumed a game? Any game, for any reason. You know what I mean by platinuming, 100%ing. Come on. Come on. Really?
Oh!
Okay, that's funny. That's funny. Oh no, don't follow me down this narrow corridor! Oh no, he followed me down the narrow corridor! What am I gonna do?
That's just your face.
I have also 100%ed every Metroid game while we're on the subject. Good luck, Haba the Jet. Have fun.
As you wish.
Don't bother with the romances. They're a waste of time. Hey, Dr. Winter. So hang on. Evo said 2 things, and I wanted to respond to them. Oh, ha! That's what Evo did. She said, may I ask a question? You know the answer to that question, Evo. Oh, if only I could romance win. Alas. Oh, well, I'll just go ahead and walk up here for no reason. Oh, God, here they come. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Ah, okay, this might actually be bad. Hang on. I didn't 100% Deadfire, although I probably could see myself doing that. I have 100% of this game. On Nightmare. You said, may I share something silly and that I'm proud of that I did in a video game, Evo, is what you said. I have 100% of the Mass Effects. Whole 3 of them, actually. I have not 100% at Inquisition, although it's kind of because we played it when it came out. I wasn't counting Andromeda. I know I've skipped content Andromeda. Not on purpose. Well, again, we played Andromeda when it came out.
Trap right ahead.
Well, DOS 1 is on the list, but I'm pretty sure that DOS 1 would not even be in the same zip code as DOS 2, Cashel. Like, I would be shocked if it was. I remember DOS 1. I've beaten DOS 1. Exactly, Lord Herman. But also, you know, maxing out people and lives, and levels, and items, and all the other fun stuff there. DOS 1 was fun, but I want you to think about the story axis of that game for a second, Parker. Just really think about it for a second.
I'm trying to be merciful.
Think about it. Think about it. Like, remember, a truly good game has to have both story and gameplay. Some games can lean on one or the other, but only the true greats have both. Oh man, dragon omelets have got to taste great. Anyways. I would also recommend playing either a sorcerer or a monk, Abba the Judge. Both are quite good in that edition. Right, so several people asked, are the Baldur's Gate remasters, excuse me, ports worth playing? I can't answer that. So, some of my friends have played them and said they're good. I physically can't, because they are so crash-heavy on my computer that I couldn't do even basic things like looting an item or talking to an NPC without crashing. It's actually the most crash-heavy game I've ever encountered in my life. I don't know, yeah, on my computer. So, I don't know what the specific issue is. I don't know where that was coming from. It's why the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 games are actually vetoed for reviews, because I can't play them. So, either way, having said that, everyone I've talked to who's played them, including my friends whose opinion on video games I trust, says that they're legit. Take that for what it is.
Nothing but excitement.
Ah!
Must have victory. As you wish.
I mean...
Be careful! You should run while you can. This is annoying.
Alright, so I know we disagree about everything, Lord Aramont. As we've already established, do me a favor. Tell me why this dungeon that we're going through right now does not deserve any negatives. And I promise I will listen. I mean, I always do.
I shall.
I have not, Pillars of Snow, and I never will. First of all, the idea of playing a CRPG on a console does not appeal to me. And second, and substantially more importantly, I don't like Baldur's Gate 1 or 2. So I have no desire to play them. Gigapudding says, hey Lord, why are you dumb and stupid and worthless and terrible and awful? Well, it's because you didn't invite me to your wedding, Gigapudding. If I was there... Heartbreak. Blood mage only. It's funny. Is that everything up here? There's a lot. Look at all these dragon eggs. Good God. What do they call this? The dragon eggs. No? Okay, never mind. I guess that's valid, Lord Haramond? I guess I just kind of don't agree. And let me try to explain why. It's because I'm stupid, dumb, and my face is ugly. You've actually told me about that, Evo. Do I hate the combat in this game? No, I actually like the combat in this game better than I do back in Baldur's Gate 3. And I mean that legitimately. It's just... So let me give you a real response, Lord Erebon. I love the combat of Final Fantasy VI. I think it's tight. I think it has... it's very smooth. There's a ton of tactical options, and there's a ton of stuff you can do with it. Cool? Cool. If there's a dungeon in FF6, which is nothing but a bunch of encounters and nothing else, I don't particularly enjoy that. Doesn't matter that I enjoy the combat. The combat... Maybe I'm just too compartmentalized in the way I think. Because in my mind, the combat's over there, doing its own thing, getting its own positives. But you have to do something with dungeon design. And I will admit, the less advanced a system of a game is, the less you can do with dungeon design. But yeah, let's just do a comparison here. In World of Warcraft, in vanilla, what is a dungeon? Well, there's a trash fight, and then there's a trash fight, and then there's a trash fight, and a trash fight, and a trash fight, and a trash fight. And then a trash fight, 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 and then a trash fight. This is a real dungeon I'm running through in my head right now. And then there's a boss. The trash has nothing to do with anything, and the boss has nothing to do with anything. That is to say, game design-wise. Let's ignore the story axis for just a second, okay? So purely gameplay-wise, pure gameplay. There's just trash, 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 trash. Oh yeah, there was also a... Actually, not in the dungeon I was just thinking of, which is... I can't think of the name of it. Shadowfang Keep. So it's just... Okay. But then we move forward a little bit into dungeon design in something like, I don't know, Pandaria, which is a lot more advanced in terms of dungeon design. So what do we got in dungeon design there? So you walk in and you see one trash mob, and it's like, okay. And the trash mob's like, oh god, quick, sound the alarm, and they summon a bunch of trash on your face. And the trash that you're fighting now, the one pack of trash, has abilities that the boss is about to use. And then you have a second pack, and then a third pack, and the second pack has some other abilities the boss uses. And the third pack has another set of abilities the boss uses. The 3 trash packs leading up to it are a little bit of a gear check and a little bit of tutorialization for the boss fight you're about to do. Then you have the boss fight right there. By the way, visible from the entrance. He's right there. Trash, 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 boss. Boom. And then you're into the encounter. And the boss fight is, of course, well designed and fun and all that fun stuff. And you can see the distinction here. Even though both of them still follow the same fundamental approach, which is corridor, trash, boss, the later stuff just did more with everything that was present. Which brings me to the game we're playing right now. I agree, by the way, Spartan. So, what is this dungeon doing with dungeon design? Now, because this is the thing, and I think Lord Harrowmont's going to disagree with me on this, because I'm pretty sure if I said that if the sky was blue, he'd look outside to double check me on this. But I think the encounter design of this dungeon's actually pretty good, to the point where I'm willing to give it a positive for that. In fact, encounter design is going to be one of the things that this game has going for it when it comes to the gameplay axis. But what's the dungeon have going for it? Aha! I knew it! I knew it! Yeah, caves and corridors. And occasionally there's a trap. Do you get my real point here? They're not doing anything with anything. If this dungeon was a completely vacuous corridor with occasionally a branching path to get some optional loot, it wouldn't change anything. And that's why I'm so utterly unimpressed with it. But hang on, I got one more complaint, and this is why I am going to give this place negatives. It is the quantity. Remember what I just talked about with the 2 WoW dungeons? The earlier WoW dungeon was a vanilla WoW dungeon, and it really was... Hang on, let me count this. So, trash, 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 trash. 7 separate trash packs before you get to the first boss. By contrast, what was the Pandaria dungeon? 3 trash packs. And then boss. And you see the difference? I even have a term for this. It's called Dragon Age 2 syndrome. It doesn't matter if the encounters are amazing each time. Oh, okay, that's not true. It does matter if the encounters are amazing each time. And they are. Not. Sorry, I need to stop reading while talking. It really screws with me. And they aren't. The encounters in this dungeon are not fantastic. There are occasionally good encounters, and then there's trash. And that's it, you know? Sorry, I'm getting off topic, so let's just go ahead and do this. So, encounter rate, raid negative. What's the name of this place? The Caverns. You see the name of the dungeon we're in? Caverns. Which series has the best lore of all time? Warcraft. I'm not making that up. You can check me on that. I hear there's some bald moron did a World of Warcraft series detailing the whole thing. Where are we? The Ruined Temple, we'll call it that. Listen, there's only one ruined temple. Yeah, we gotta find the Holy Grail. Where's encounter? How do you define trash? Well, that's funny because I myself screw up and say trash when I mean two completely different things, Dr. Winter, so I apologize for that. I can tell they look exactly identical, Ziad. So, what trash is supposed to mean is a pointless encounter, to put that as simply as possible. It's not well designed, it's not interesting, it's not tutorialized, it's just, here's some enemies, go fight them. That's trash, and it's called that way because it's trash. That is different from encounter design. Let me use a specific example. You know that fight I died on earlier, where there's the spell dude up on the thing, and then there's the guys who spawn, and then there's the drakes, and then there's the little guys? That's an encounter. Someone actually put thought and effort and work into figuring out where those enemies would be, with the composition of the enemies, and how they would attack us, right? That's a fight. That's an encounter. But trash is a speed bump. It's there to waste time, to put it as very, very bluntly as possible. And I've played so many RPGs in my life, and it's a gradient thing too. It's not like linear, boom, boom. There's a lot of range in between being a completely trash fight and being an awesome manually designed encounter. But a lot of RPGs, even games I love, like Final Fantasy VI, tend to land over here, towards the trash end of the aspect. And you get the idea. To go back into the examples I keep using, that's valid, Lord Irma. Shadowfang Keep, the dungeon I just mentioned, those are trash fights. There's no real design to them. They're just there. They have health. They barely have abilities. They're speed bumps. They're there for you to kill them in order to progress. The trash fights over in the Shadowpawn Monastery, which is the other encounter the dungeon I was just referencing, those are well-designed encounters, designed to tutorialize your way up to the boss you're about to fight. And that's the distinction right there. So that's my fault. I apologize. Let's go talk to our favorite Spartan, shall we?
Stop! You will go no further!
Who are you?
You do not have the right to demand my name. You have defiled our temple. You have spilled the blood of the faithful and slaughtered our young. No more. You will tell me now, intruder, why you have done all this. Why have you come here?
Okay, first of all, you guys attacked me. I do feel like pointing that out. More than once, actually. You guys ambushed me with intent to murder. That's before counting the fact that you also tried to kill the knights who came up here, and there's some other things. Look, you guys are evil, okay? I'm killing you because you're evil. What do you want from me? I thought you did it on purpose, Valerian. Dragon Quest VII, speaking of which, is a good example of a game that, while I like that game, and I do, a lot of my enjoyment of that game is on the story axis. Because Dragon Quest VII has a lot of trash. Like, way too much trash. And you can't dodge most of it, so it's just all the time. Thank you very, very much, Valerian. Oh, hang on. I'm here to kill you.
To arms, my brethren! Andraste will grant us victory!
Enemies approaching!
Yeah, I'm just gonna spoil this. There's no way to, like, peacefully interact with him. He's evil. That's kind of it. That's all we've got for that. Sorry, Colgrim. Just telling it like it is. Ogren's dead. Take a drink. In his honor, of course. Sorry, let me try to state that sentence a little bit more clearly, because apparently I wasn't being clear. There's no way to be a good person and still be cool with this guy. He is evil, and the only way to be cool with him is to be evil. Sorry, let me state that more clearly. Look how they're just teleporting with me here.
Stop! No more! You will tell me now, intruder, why you have done all... Not even the Tevinter Imperium could hope to slay her now.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Get out of my way. Okay, so let's try this again with a little bit less death. Okay, so we're gonna do... Oh, yeah, I can double dip here. Listen, Evo, it's in your name. We know how this works. Mages. Oh, shoot. I let him two-hand me. Okay, we're just gonna reload. Hang on. Really sucks not having Alistair, I tell you what. Blah, 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 blah,
no
blah,
more.
Blah, 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 blah.
Warden senses
Okay, take two. Well, yes, but that's why some games are kind of built on the idea of non-stop trash fights. Beat-em-ups, for example, or I can't remember what they're called. Dynasty Warrior games. No. Ooh, that hurt. I can't think what they're called, and I don't have the brain right now. No, not hack and slash. Hate that genre. It's a misleading genre name. Ogren, use a goddamn potion. Do you not have a thing to use potions? Why don't you have a thing to use? Use a friggin' potion! Self. Health. No wonder you're not... God, no wonder he's dying so much. Use potion. Like, why aren't you doing this? When did this get reset? Oh, I know when it got reset. Beat 'em ups. Shoot 'em ups. The top-down kind of thing, or the side-scroller kind of a thing. Dynasty Warrior style games. I feel like there's another one that's like an entire genre of game whose entire thing is just mulching through trash. And that's the point, right? Although, I feel like pointing out that even most of the genres I just mentioned can and usually do have encounter design, right? Like, it's a Mega Man, right? Or Yakuza. Or Diablo 3. All of these games have encounter design, enemy design, you know, boss design in order to make it so you're not just mulching through nonsense. And to be very, very clear, what I define as nonsense in enemy design, true trash, the furthest extent of trash is it's an enemy, they have health, and they attack you, and that's it. They don't have any abilities, they don't have any unique gimmicks, they don't have anything special about them, there's nothing about them that tutorializes, there's nothing about them that works with the level, there's nothing about them that informs a puzzle, or nothing about them interacts with their fellow enemies in any way. There's just health and stats, and they smack you, and that's the furthest end of trash, right? And you know what? Lord Harrowmont has another one. Tighten the Noose type of games where you have to kind of stay ahead of an ever-increasing horde of death is another good example, that kind of thing. Let's do this. Try and succeed at a physical challenge, fail at it miserably, try to do it again. Armin's dead. It's just me. We're dead. Oh my god, what am I doing wrong here? Okay, hang on. Oghren, are you taunting? I mean, you obviously aren't using potions, which we've already established is part of the problem here, so let's try that again. Yeah, we'll do it 50. You are not taunting. I'm not even sure you have taunt. You do. Alright, turn that on. It is the healer's fault. I agree. Win! No more sex. Cutting you off.
Stop!
I really don't like that it forces me into melee of 3 very dangerous melee creatures. God, that's a thing. Yeah, we are on easy. I hate that question, but it's a true statement. These damn mages. Come on. Like this. Point in Baldur's Gate 3's favor, I suppose. Let's get some fire. Let's get some lightning. Let's kill this thing, please. There we go. Okay. Now to kill Colgrim. Wait a second.
Do you actually think you have a chance?
Game? Target the guy! Oh my god. I don't either, Colgrim. I'm not sure why I mean, obviously turning on potions was the correct call, but god, I do not remember having that many issues with that particular fight. I guess I just suck.
This should be easy enough.
Granted, Oghren also wasn't taunting, so that's the other problem there. Fine, Sean, let's go have sex in the engine room. Ugh. Do I have to? That's true. We are killing the servants of Andraste herself. And she probably existed. So, you know, I might have to think about that for 5 seconds. No, I'm good with it. Anybody see a giant green glowing thing in the sky? Cool. We'll be fighting that, too. Because, you know, I want the armor really badly.
They say music soothes the savage beast, but I'm not going to test that theory.
Oh, come on, why not? That's actually why I brought him, Ziad. You'll notice I kind of have a weird party for this, because usually I bring Alistair for something like this, because the encounters in here can kind of suck, but I wanted Oghren for this upcoming sequence. So, this is... We talked about this during the lore run. Let's just get this out of the way. This is the biggest who knows in the entire sequence of the game, I would say. There is sufficient evidence to indicate that all of this is just a bunch of smoke of mirrors, that it has some significance but may not be what it says it is, or that it is actually legitimately a big, you know, spiritual thing. Who knows? Only the writers do. The original writers, of course. Nevertheless. No, Dr. Winter. Let's go talk to the Guardian.
Close. This is holy ground. I can feel it.
What, you don't like having heavy armor on Mage? I mean, Mage robes suck. Come on.
I bid you welcome, Pilgrim.
So. Here for the odd.
You have
come to honor Andraste, and you shall, if you prove yourself worthy.
What am I not worthy? Like, do you have any idea? I don't think the Maker exists, okay? And Andraste can suck a lemon.
Then you will not come to the ashes. It is not my place to decide your worthiness. The gauntlet does that. If you are found worthy, you will see the urn and be allowed to take a small pinch of the ashes for yourself. If not...
Cool. So what's the gauntlet, exactly?
The gauntlet tells the true pilgrims from the false.
But I'm not...
You will undergo 4 tests of faith, and we shall see how your soul fares.
I don't know if I'd call my... Okay, sure, let's do this.
Before you go, there is something I must ask.
What?
I see that the path that led you here was not easy.
Uh-huh.
There is suffering in your past. Your suffering, and the suffering of others.
Okay.
Jarwin was discovered by the Templars. You were helping him. Tell me, do you think you failed, Jarwin?
No, the game didn't let me do anything else.
Thank you. That is all I wish to know.
Accept your failings, but do not let them govern your life.
You could not have known what would happen. You did what you thought was best.
Everyone makes mistakes. I say have an ale and let it go.
And what of those that follow you?
Ask your question, Guardian. I am ready.
You are ever the advisor, ready with a word of wisdom. Do you wonder if you spout only platitudes, burned into your mind in the distant past? Perhaps you are only a tool, used to spread the word of the Circle and the Chantry. Does doubt ever chip away at your truths?
You frame the statement in the form of a question, yet you already know our answers. There is no sense in hiding, is there? Yes, I do doubt at times. Only the fool is completely certain of himself.
And you? Why do you say the Maker speaks to you, when all know that the Maker has left? He spoke only to Andraste. Do you believe yourself her equal?
I never said that.
In Orlais, you were someone. In Lothering, you feared you would lose yourself, become a drab sister, and disappear. When your brothers and sisters of the cloister criticized you for what you professed, you were hurt, but you also reveled in it. It made you special. You enjoyed the attention, even if it was negative.
You're saying that I made it up for the attention? I did not. I know what I believe.
Ah, the dwarf. You left your home and came to the surface, knowing that...
Why don't I save you some time? Yes, I wish I could have saved my family from Branka. I wish I'd been a better mate. Maybe she'd have stayed home with a belly full of baby Oghren and never gone for the anvil. Maybe I failed her. And yes, I came to the surface because I'm barely a dwarf anymore. My family is dead. My honor as a warrior long gone. I've lost my caste and my house, and I have nothing else to lose.
The way is open. Good luck, and may you find what you seek.
One quick thing I feel the need to point out here. First of all, I've already given my theory on Leliana, at least within the confines of Origins. I don't think she did it for the clout. I think she did it for the significance. I think that Leliana craves purpose in her life, didn't have it, and found it. And whether she actually believes it or not kinda doesn't matter at that point. That's my take. That's been my take for a while. Ogren's is awesome, Very, very honest, very brutal about it. And yeah, that's Oghren. You'll notice that Oghren's thing quietly mentions that even though he says he has nothing left to lose, what he's still seeking is the same thing I just mentioned with regards to Liliana. Purpose. If he truly had nothing left to lose, he would go drink himself to death or kill himself. But he doesn't, because he still wants to do. And, well, that's true with a lot of characters of this game. I'm not sure if it's true of all of them. I'd have to sit and think about that, but it's certainly true of several of them. But thank you, Sean. Always and ever appreciate. Thank you. And if you give me a moment, I will jot that down. Did I say thank you to Valerian? I feel like I did. Oh yeah, so another thing worthy of note. You might think, hang on a second. The mere fact that this thing can so effortlessly read their minds and read their souls and peer into their hearts must mean it's legit. First of all, we know Desire Demons can do that. We've seen it happen twice on screen already. So that's not super big of a magic trick. I mean, I'm not saying it's like you know, low tier. I'm just saying it's possible to the point of being repeated. In fact, it'll happen later too. And second of all, yeah, no, I almost guarantee the Guardian is a spirit of some kind or another. And second of all, as is going to be pointed out in a few minutes, this place is absolutely glutted with lyrium. Makes me wonder if a you-know-what's corpse was here when they built the temple, but... I have put that towards Stray, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man. Thank you again, Sean. And I've put it towards giving even more positives to Mass Effect 2. Alright, so.
Echoes from a shadow realm, whispers of things yet to come. Thought's strange sister dwells in night, is swept away by dawning light. Of what do I speak?
Indigestion.
A dream came upon me as my daughter slumbered beneath my heart.
It's your own, Justin.
It told of her life, and of her betrayal and death. I am sorrow and regret. I am a mother weeping bitter tears for a daughter she could not save.
I mean, they're good riddles. We've done them a few times, but they're good riddles.
The smallest lark could carry it, while a strong man might not. Of what do I speak?
A coconut.
That is not of what I speak.
Oh, shoot. Actually... well, whatever. It's okay. Riddles are for dumb people anyway.
Let's make this quick, shall we? Let's get started. On it. Right away.
Yeah, I should have picked the coconut.
I'd neither a guest nor a trespasser be. In this place I belong, that belongs also to me. Of what do I speak?
Home.
It was my dream for the people to have a home of their own, where we would have no masters but ourselves. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and thus we followed Andraste against the Imperium. But she was betrayed. And so were we.
An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The debt of blood must be paid in full. Of what do I speak?
Duh?
Yes, my husband Hissarion would have chosen a quick death for Andraste. I made him swear that she would die publicly with her war leaders, that all would know the Imperium's strength. I am justice. I am vengeance. Blood can only be repaid in blood.
A poison of the soul, passion's cruel counterpart.
Colonel?
From love she grows, till love lies slain. Of what do I speak?
Jealousy.
Yes,
Jealousy drove me to betrayal. I was the greatest general of the Alamari, but beside her, I was nothing. Hundreds fell before her on bended knee. They loved her, as did the Maker. I loved her too. But what man can compare with a god?
I don't know, I've killed a lot of gods in my career. The HUD is turbo not up to date. With games like this, and we ran into this with Baldur's Gate 3 too, I've sort of started making it normal policy to not codify until I do the mid-game audit for these really big RPGs, because there's just so much to process and think about over the course of the game. So, you may or may not have noticed, some of you who've been watching the review document, I've kind of started taking notes in a different manner, which I've been kind of refining this method of doing it over the course of the year. It worked out really great for Baldur's Gate 3, so I'm going to be doing that going forwards, I think. But yeah, the HUD is turbo not up to date. Even if I was to give it like the rough numbers, it's still not up to date. But here, I'll give you rough numbers just so it's a little bit more accurate. Something more approaching accurate. There you go.
The bones of the world stretch towards the sky's embrace, veiled in white, like a bride greeting her groom. Of what do I speak?
The mountains?
Yes. I carried Andraste's ashes out of Tevinter into the mountains to the east, where she could gaze ever into her Maker's sky. No more fitting a tomb than this could we find.
No man has seen it, but all men know it. Lighter than air, sharper than any sword. Comes from nothing, but will fell the strongest armies. Of what do I speak?
Something I know very well.
Yes, hunger was the weapon used against the wicked men of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker kindled the sun's flame, scorching the land. Their crops failed, and their armies could not march. Then he opened the heavens and bade the waters flow, and washed away their filth. I am Kefir, disciple of Andraste and commander of her armies. I saw these things done, and knew the Makers smiled on us.
By the way, one of my favorite combos here is if you bring Leliana, Wynne, and Sten to the upcoming cutscene. Because they're like, oh my god, this is this big life-changing scene, and Sten's like, congratulations, you brought us to an ashtray. Anyways, I could be wrong about my mental map. Hang on. Hey, there actually is a world map. What do you know? Nope, I was right. So yeah, Ferelden's here, Orlea's over to the west, the Tevinter is up north. Dinner is apparently here. That's early. Okay, that's, okay. Okay.
She wields the broken sword and separates true kings from tyrants. Of what do I speak?
Mercy? God, I wasn't paying attention.
Yes. I could not bear the sight of Andraste's suffering, and Mercy bade me end her life. I am the penitent sinner, who shows compassion as he hopes compassion will be shown to him.
Hey, it's Jowan. Alright, I guess I'm going to be cutting off early today. I apologize, everyone. Tomorrow, hopefully we'll finish this frickin' Ashes quest. And I'll stop talking about MMO game design.